Our thriller challenges conventions such as the stereotypical low-key lighting found in many professional thriller films, because our thriller was filmed during the day and is very clear as you can see the daylight coming through the windows and the doorway at the end. Low-key lighting is often used in thrillers to create suspense and tension in scenes by creating shadows and silhouettes on walls that put the viewers on the edge of their seat. But in our thriller, we relied more on our storyline, visual effects, and camera angles and movement to build our suspense. Our storyline does follow conventions of normal action thriller films, as it includes violence and graphic scenes as well as roles such as assassins and wealthy businessmen, which is very similar to themes found in the John Wick series. The location of our thriller opening takes place in a large mansion, giving an obvious factor that the family who lives in it have a lot of money. This then links to how social groups are represented in our film, as by the end of the video the whole family is found dead, showing that wealthy people are not untouchable and that money is simply an object. The costume we used for our anonymous assassin is also very similar to the style found on John Wick and follows strong costume conventions. It consists of a three-piece suit, a white shirt, a black tie and black leather shoes. This style presents a professional look about the character, suggesting that he knows what he's doing and that he is a serious character due to the lack of colour and the only use of black and white. Our music also follows conventions in that it is used to create tension by making uses of ambient sound and stings that slowly build up to increase their effect on the drama.
Our thriller film opening scene to our movie, The Passing, is a gritty and disturbing scene scanning past a crime scene with multiple fatalities and some others still to come. It shows a masked villain wandering around a wealthy household, murdering a rich family, all while accompanied by non-diegetic intense music. Our product engages with audiences as they are drawn to find out what the killer's motivations were. The opening is different from most gritty thriller films, as the audience usually sees how or why the murders happen. We thought that our film would be given an age restriction of 18 simply because there is a lot of blood and gore and scenes of violence. Plus, the rest of our film would also be a lot more violent than the opening. A similar thriller film which received an age restriction of 18 is The Silence of the Lambs, which is an American psychological horror thriller crime film which follows an FBI trainee who seeks the advice of the imprisoned Dr. Hannibal Lecter, a brilliant psychiatrist and cannibalistic serial killer, to apprehend another serial killer known as Buffalo Bill, who skins his female victims' corpses. Silence of the Lambs is a gritty crime thriller which received an age restriction of 18. The violence and grittiness of The Silence of the Lambs would be similar to our film in many ways, just without the cannibalism. As a real media text, our film would be distributed by Summit Entertainment, as they also distributed John Wick. If our film, The Passing, was to be a real media text, it would have a fairly similar concept of John Wick. Our thriller film would be a crime action thriller, which will include lots of gritty and bloody action scenes, while also being a crime and detective film. John Wick is a very successful franchise. It seems fitting that Summit Entertainment would publish another movie with a similar concept to avoid any competition with any distributors. From the start of our project, knowing what every camera angle and movement looked like, we were able to plan every shot of our thriller film opening. On the day of filming our thriller opening, we were able to test out and perform every angle and movement, so that we could truly see if the camera angles and movements we chose before were best suited for the scene. Learning how to perform all angles and movements was really helpful, as I will now know exactly how to do all of them and will help later on if I ever need to film any other sort of film project. Also, our directing skills have developed and improved as we now know what kind of callouts we need to make, as well as managing the cast. From the start of our AS Media project, I personally had no knowledge or experience with Premiere Pro and how to edit videos together. Once we had finished filming, we wanted to begin editing our film immediately, but since I had very little experience with Premiere Pro, I watched a couple of videos on YouTube on how to edit videos together and add effects and music. From watching these videos, my partner and I began to slowly but surely piece our film together, adding the titles and later on adding the music. The whole process was not as hard or didn't take as long as we thought it would, and we were able to finish editing, apart from the music, within 2 to 3 days. The music in any film is important for creating mood and tension for any scene. Since we needed to create our own music for our film opening, we used GarageBand to create the music. I knew a few of the basic elements of how to create music in GarageBand, such as to use loops and create a simple beat. After going through the basics of GarageBand, we started to create our own music, which was harder than we originally thought it would be. We had to match the music perfectly for the film for when the camera cuts to different shots.
My first use of technology was Blogger, which is a blog publishing service owned by Google, which allows users to design and develop their own personal blogs for the world to see. Over the past months, I have used Blogger to develop my research, planning, editing and evaluation. I gradually published individual sections based on different aspects of research and planning to show my journey and understanding of professional productions that will allow me to replicate a similar product. When it came to filming, we used a GoPro Hero 7 Black model, which is a 4K camera and has hyper-smooth technology, allowing me to film freehand without it looking like a handheld camera. Although this wasn't a professional filming camera, it still provided us with footage that was just as clear and sharp as if we used a proper camera. The GoPro also has the ability to connect to my phone through Bluetooth, allowing me to fully see what we were filming and have full control over the angle and zoom of the camera. Once we had all our footage, we started editing using Premiere Pro software, which is a timeline-based video editing app developed by Adobe Systems and published as part of the Adobe Creative Cloud licensing program. The system is used by many professional film groups as an editing system as it allows the editors to do so many different things with their footage in the simplest ways possible. Although the editing was difficult to learn on Premiere Pro, it provided us with separate control over the sound as well as making it easy to assemble everything together, along with easy to edit texts and smooth cuts between scenes. For music, I used GarageBand software on my Mac to produce a soundtrack to run alongside my opening as non-diegetic sound. Its music and podcast creation system enables users to create multiple tracks with pre-made MIDI keyboards, pre-made loops and an array of various instrumental effects and voice recordings. The access to loops made it a lot easier to make this track sound more complicated and professional without being musically skilled with the piano. It also has a very similar setup to Premiere Pro, with the simple drag and place and edit the product on a timeline basis, making it very easy to edit specific sections if necessary and match them to the specific sections in the film.